Welcome to the Wine Zone. I'm Konrad EJBICH. This is Pro and Con. My guest today may have the last name in the phone book, but he's the first name in the Canadian wine industry. Donald Ziraldo is the co-founder of Enniskillen Wines. He has been awarded the Order of Canada for his pioneering efforts in focusing the industry on quality, and he's recognized internationally for his overall contribution to the global wine business. Currently, Mr. Ziraldo is making wine in 3 countries, Canada, Italy, and Portugal.
Where I just came from.
Where you just came from. Welcome to the show.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
So, you won't remember this, but the first time we met would have been 1978. You would have walked me out to the vineyards where there's now a parking lot. Talked to me about some grapes. I think it was Gewürztraminer in that corner.
We were building the vineyard at that time.
That's
the
right.
This is gone now, replaced by Riesling.
And standing behind you were your mom and your aunt picking grapes.
Yes, they were. They were my best picker, especially my Aunt Derna. She was a tough lady, man. She was tough. Matter of fact, the Victoria vineyard that this wine comes from, my wife's name is Victoria. My mom's middle name was Victoria, and my aunt who was there, middle name was Victoria.
Okay.
So that's some pretty serious significance to Victoria.
You see, you should have been named Victor. I mean, Vic Ziraldo.
Next life I will.
Now, you are celebrating your 10th anniversary with this. In fact, I have a bottle of your very first vintage 10 years ago,
That's
2007.
interesting. You know, the only reason I knew it's my 10th anniversary is because I got swamped by LinkedIn. Congratulations on your anniversary.
Right.
And I had to write somebody and say, could you tell me what your congratulations
What are you talking
anniversary
about?
is?
Right.
So, yeah, it's amazing because we're releasing this 10 years later, and it's the first ice wine off of the Victoria Vineyard because I planted it on the original Enniskillen wine site.
Right, the one where you planned to have your first wine.
Yeah, that's right.
So how did you celebrate your 10th anniversary?
By speaking at the Rodman School of Business this morning about free trade.
Yeah.
Rather interesting discussion. And then coming here and doing an interview with you. And then I'm going to the Summerhill liquor store to
pour and to release this. Yeah. So essentially you were talking to the group this morning about free trade because that leads to my next question, which is that you've been on the front lines of the Canadian industry for 40 years.
1975,
42, 43, okay. Well, don't have that long. For a long time.
Yes.
So
amazing.
So what are we doing right and what are we doing wrong? Well, it's a long discussion.
The weather's right because they're still picking in Niagara. So
that's El Nino year. Remember, El Nino year was 1991. Remember what 1992 was like?
That's right.
So
there should, this vintage should be a great red wine vintage.
Amazing.
So we're doing that right because I have an opinion about red wines in Canada. I think we should just lighten it up, give up Cabernet Sauvignon and others.
I'm with you.
And stick to Pinot Noir, Cabernet Franc.
Make more drinkable wines instead of trying to make Grand Cru wines.
Yeah. And then, if you want to use a Passimento, that's cool. That helps because that's what they do in the Veneto, like my friend Mazzi.
So long as you're concentrating a good ripe wine and not using it to ripen a wine.
No, you can't.
Right.
As Sandro Boscaini from Mazzi will tell you, you can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. Any winemaker knows that. So you got to have good quality fruit. You just concentrate and make it more like an Amarone. It's a pretty serious wine.
It's just removing a little bit of the water. Okay, so just as an aside, not even on my questions here, we don't allow artificial freezing of grapes for ice wine. Why do we allow kiln drying for Appassimento?
Because what's kiln drying? You put it in a box and you let it dry. Is there something wrong with that?
I don't know.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Freezing is artificial. Kiln drying is not.
Right.
Because when you put it in a barn in Veneto up in the attic or in Friuli,
it's just moving air.
When I make
but aren't they cooking it a bit? Would they be heating the air?
Oh,
aren't
sure.
They speeding things up?
As they are in Veneto. You think that they still use the old barns up above the house?
So then when they do cook it, so to speak, using
They don't-
warmer air
well,
as
they
opposed to
don't-
just natural
they don't
cooler,
cook it.
do you not get slightly cooked flavors?
No, the word is dehydrate.
Dehydrate.
Okay, natural dehydration, just like when you hang tobacco. You know, when you hang tobacco in the kilns,
Yeah.
what does it do? It removes the water naturally. Air flows through. There's no air, there's no heaters in there. There's no artificial
Right.
elements. It's a purely natural drying process, and the same as a passimento.
I accept that.
Yeah, and now the technology, like I just came from Vineland, where I was research chair for 5 years. They've now created a beautiful box that actually pulls the air through, because when you wait for nature to do it, you know, when air's going
Yeah, well, if
through-
it's not moving, there's no wind, it's not moving.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you're
So
forcing.
that's technology, but that's,
Yeah.
you know, like old world, new world.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing right about this. What are we doing wrong?
What we're doing wrong, we have a very disorganized organization. It's like the grape growers marketing, or they call them to farmers.
Yeah.
We've got the wine council, we've got the WAGO group, which is the big wineries.
The big guys.
We've got the fruit wineries, you know, and so you got all of this, you know, a small, tiny little industry, you know, all scattered around, people, you know, politicking, and like we need to really act as one unified Canadian wine industry.
And-
Ontario, totally irrelevant. I mean, I remember being in Beijing when I did the first big launch with Ice Wine, and I was up talking Mark Touet, who's coming today.
Yeah.
I was there as the chef. The Taguchi, the minister of the LCBO, stands up, talks about Ontario trade with China. And the Spanish ambassador says to me, "Donald, what's this thing Ontario he's talking about?" It's Canada. It's Canadian.
So we have a Canadian Vintners Association. Why,
Yeah.
why aren't they standing forward and doing something?
Well,
Or
because
why
they're in
aren't they
Ottawa-
organizing?
They're in Ottawa doing politics.
Yeah,
You know.
but isn't that what we need to
No.
get Kathleen Wynne to open things up? And
No, Kathleen Wynne should just stick to whatever she's doing. We're in the wine business.
well, yeah, I mean, we should stick to what she's doing and stay out of our business.
Yeah, government. Government should stay out of all of our business. They should get out of the
Yeah.
wine business and, you know.
And
pass
stay
it
out
on.
of the coming weed business.
No, actually, well, that's my
That's
opinion
the
is what they
thing.
should, my opinion is they should give up the wine business, privatize it, and then take over the marijuana business, because it's still controversial, so it
Yeah.
needs controls. And then that way they can do something else, and, you know, do that for 50 years.
Take it out of one criminal organization, put it into another.
Well, they're legal.
Tell me about your projects in Portugal and Italy.
Well, what happened in Italy was just my being given an honorary citizenship, you know, because of my mom and dad coming. And the night of the ceremony, and the next night, that night we went for dinner. The count, who basically threw my family off the land as peasants and they're sharecroppers, he invited me to his archive. He said, I used to make picolite. And I said, really? I said, I know picolite from when I was a little kid. Picolite's that, you know,
Yes,
very
yes.
rare variety. And he said, oh yeah, this is where it originated. So I discovered that picolite was born in Friuli. In the mid-1700s, this Asquini family used to make it, put it in Venetian glass, hand-blown, and ship it to the King of England, the Tsar of Russia, the King of Spain. And I thought, wow, when the president that night at the ceremony had said, oh, you should come back here and do something, you know, to honor your family, your fathers. And I thought, oh, you know what, maybe I'll just plant some picolite back on the hillside where it was growing. And, you know, I did. I worked with some of the guys locally. We planted the vineyard. It's all along the hillside. If you know the videos of Castello. However, the picolite appellation under the DOC had been moved to Collio. So I worked for 7 years to get the name.
Expand it.
No
And they said
way.
no way.
So, being a good Canadian, I compromised. So I call it Bianco di Fagagna.
You didn't call it Piccolini or something like
I
that?
tried. No, I
Bianco di Fagagna.
Because Fagagna is the town.
Right,
Bianco
Bianco di Fagagna.
So Bianco di Fagagna.
Sure.
So, and then on the back I write picolite.
Right. Now that's a personal part. You own that. You own
I
that
do.
part. Right.
That's
And what?
my
Tell me
favorite.
about Portugal. Which
Portugal was a
Senhora
mining.
de Convento.
Senhora de Convento is a mining company.
It's a mining company.
Well, that owns it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Canadian
I get
mining
it.
company from Montreal.
They're mining grapes.
Well, yeah, we're mining grapes. They're mining tungsten. They're
Okay.
trying to. Canadian company. I was having breakfast. You know, going around the table. I was sitting on a technology company, and the guy said, "Oh, here's Ziraldo." He said, "I really could use your opinion because." We're in Portugal and we have a gold mine in the south, and there we pull out one cork tree, where there's a lot of cork trees in southern Portugal, and we have to plant two. But then we're up here trying to buy this other place. We've got the mineral rights for tungsten, but the land is privately owned by a guy, and there's a 12th century monastery on it, and the guy wants 40 years of production because he makes port. And I said, well, I'm sure he doesn't do it all for 40 years, but so he said, would you go over and look? I went over, took a look, gave him my appraisal, told him what I think he should pay for it, came back. 3 months later, they phoned and said, we bought it. And I said, okay. And they said, well, what do we do with it? And I said, I don't know. I said, you know what, if you let me live in the monastery, maybe I'll look after it for you for a while. So I'm still there 5 years later.
Yeah, yeah.
And we had the wine here at the LCBO, it's all gone. We're bringing some in actually into the new international store. Do you know about this store?
Tell me about it.
So you know about it?
Well, they have these specialized stores all over the place.
Yeah.
Here next to me, they have a kosher store, which I understand because there's a large Jewish area just behind it.
Yeah.
But I mean, like in Pickering, they have a South African store, and in Kitchener they have a German store.
Well, this one's an international one in Toronto. I don't know where it is yet, but I'm going to find out because we're bringing in some port and some table wine from Sonora de Convento to the store. It's supposed to be released like momentarily. So that's and my wife loves it. It's a 12th century monastery. It's 30 hectares of vineyard, brand new state-of-the-art winery. Yeah. It's all terraced, and
you're making all the standard levels from vintage port to late bottle to not crusted, but whatever.
Not crusted. There's so many weird ones, but I got really lucky. I took it over in 211, and I said to the winemaker, I said, look, let's it's our first year, let's make something really special. So I said, okay, so so 211, you probably know, is the vintage of the century. One of the
absolutely. Oh, I had David Guimarães here. Yeah. And we tasted it too, and he said, I've never tasted a vintage port. I could never.
My first vintage, I got lucky.
Woohoo! Yeah.
And now I'm releasing, actually the SAQ in Quebec bought it.
Yeah.
Ontario is maybe or eventually will. So Aguilem, which is the Latin word for eagle, which is on the gates of the monastery, is my super Portuguese.
Right. Yeah.
And I stole that idea from the super Tuscan.
When you say super Portuguese, you're talking about dry wine, not
red table wine. Red table wine, because port is really a tough sell.
Totally. And besides, those grapes are amazing for dry wine.
Yeah, and so we made this what I call super Portuguese. It's called Aguilem. It'll be in Quebec, and basically we pick the best fruit from the best spots in the vineyard, and with the winemaker Jean Gros. Actually, he's a Frenchman who grew up in Portugal, and we're really happy with it. And I stole the idea from Symington and. Bruno Pretz from, they've created, I can't remember the name, they've got one that's the same thing.
So which is the idea that you took from them? The name or the way that you make it? The blend.
Blending and putting it oak.
Totally.
Because in Portugal, you're in the Douro Valley, so the Douro doesn't allow you to bring in any other varietals like Merlot or Cab, like Piero Antinori did in Chianti, and created super Tuscans. So I would like to introduce a few varietals to make the blend a little different. This first one is two varieties, Touriga Nacional and Tintaruiz, which is Tempranillo. Okay. So that's the blend we came up with. It's been aged in oak for 16 months, and it's a 212 vintage.
212, okay. What else is on the horizon? What, you got any new projects?
My 4-year-old son.
Yeah, Aspen.
Aspen, he was in school with us. We went to Tuscany and we were at Borgo San Felice.
So are you teaching winemaking or wine marketing at this point?
I'm teaching him Italian. That in itself should get him a good head start.
Well, no kidding.
So he was enrolled in school in Siena with the nuns. So I thought they might teach him a little discipline.
Yeah. Oh yeah, excellent.
So that's about it. My wife and I just did the leadership campaign for the United Way, so we're engaged a little more locally. Yeah. I'm no longer in Toronto. I kind of miss the city, but it took me as long to get here as it would for me in Niagara to go to another city, to come from school or
I know it's terrible. I actually do not like driving into Niagara anymore because it's so ugly.
So we hang out there and we're kind of become locals, I guess.
Yeah. What's the oldest wine in your Canadian wine in your cellar?
The oldest Canadian wine.
You don't have one. I was going to bring one out here.
Oh man, I've got some Foch. I actually found in my mom's basement, some Van Nouveau from 1975.
Yeah. 5? I got the 4. I got the first one.
You got the first one?
I got the first one.
You're way...
I traded with John Tate for a 74 Golden Valley from British Columbia because I had a bunch when I started with
They had a 74?
They inherited that. I have some port that they made with 66.
Oh, I
66, 67, and 68.
I'm sure there's some port laying around from Brights too.
Right. So how do you say ice wine in Cantonese?
In Cantonese?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I thought you can go over there and sell your ice wines there all the time.
Japanese? Ice wine. In Japanese,
I thought we go, ice wine.
Ice wine. No, ice wine. So it's ice wine everywhere. The only place in France, it's vin de glace.
Yes.
And otherwise, it's ice wine everywhere in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic. Fantastic. Listen, that was fun. Thanks for coming in, though.
That's fun. It's nice to talk to you again. We go back quite a while. I didn't
Well,
remember that
70.
particular incident, but
78.
I do remember the many times that you're at CBC. I used to listen to your show. It's too bad you're off the air.
Yeah,
What's
it's
the
too
matter with
bad.
those
Well,
guys?
I'm on the air right here.
Yeah, that's
Just
right.
tune in. Thank you for watching. Tune into this one, okay? My guest has been Donald Ziraldo, Mr. Ice Wine, Senor Porto, and Picolito Pasito Potentito. You the big man in Picolito now?
No,
You're gonna be
no,
soon.
I was going to be, and I actually had, a big session, the mayor and the president of the region, and we were actually going to revitalize Picolito to be like the next ice wine. But, you can't tell the Italians anything, they've been around.
Yeah. Is there a hope for sweet wines? I mean, these are such fantastic wines. Ice wine, Picolito, Icam, Sauterne. These are great wines that nobody.
Asia loves them.
Is that the hope for the
At the
future?
Wine Spectator, I can't believe that there wasn't an ice wine. There was a Tokai, there was a Tequim, Sauterne, there was a Port, which is considered, and they didn't have an ice wine.
Yeah.
So somebody dropped the ball. That's what pisses me off. You asked me what pissed me off?
Yeah,
about the
I
industry?
see that in this market all the time. Winemakers, producers, marketers dropping the ball.
Yeah, you got something that works, like Australia, Sauvignon Blanc. They
Yeah.
went forever. Name it. Champagne, they have bubbles, right? And there's, wherever it is.
Okay.
Canada's ice wine. It's a great umbrella. When I used to go around the world, like New York is great, the Tribeca Grill. The guy would say, no, look, don't bother me anymore. I got your Riesling ice wine from Enniskillen, I've got your Cab Franc and your Vidal. Do you have anything else you want to sell me? I said, sure, I got some Pinot Noir and some Chardonnay. He said, great. He said, well, you charge so much goddamn money for that ice wine, you've created a reputation, so bring me the most expensive ones you have. He didn't want entry level. So I think it's a great umbrella for Canada, but it's still our flagship because people get ice wine and ice cold Canada. It just works.
People
Especially-
believe that as soon as you cross the border, you got to put a coat on.
That's right.
Yeah.
Or you're coming this way, they got skis on their to-do in their car. Especially these days, you'd be a little surprised.
Oh my God! It's November. It's so chilly. 18 degrees outside.
Thanks.
Thank you for watching. My guest has been Donald Ziraldo, the man who created ice wine, the man who revitalized the Ontario wine industry, and the man who's been my friend for 40 couple of years. Thank you for coming in. Cheers. What you get, by the way, Riesling Ice Wine 2014 has just been released now. It's available. Get some before they're all gone.
And we actually Victoria and I signed every bottle that's in the LCO. There's only about 200 bottles.
You know, to sign mine after.
I will sign it, yeah. But they're all signed right in the bottle, so they don't have to come find me and try to chase me down because it's not easy to do these days.
Yeah, I know.
I'm usually playing with my kid in the playground.
Yeah, it's getting hard to wrap up here. Thanks for coming in. Thank you for watching. Coming in next time, hit the subscribe button. This is Pro and Con. I'm Konrad EJBICH. See you again. Bye.